am I going to do today? Am I going to roast the Federal Reserve for making horrible life choices? What should we do, folks? Should I just berate the Fed for the September 50 basis point interest rate cut? Or should I cook Jerome Powell for lying to our face yesterday by telling us that inflation is not going to be like we're not going to have a ramp up in inflation because of this monetary policy? That's a lie, right? Because here's the thing. Jerome Powell's been lying a lot. You guys remember when he said that inflation was transitory? Like it was only supposed to be here for a little bit, then it was going to pass. And then, like 3 years later, inflation is still here. It's not very transitory. Okay, you guys remember when Jerome Powell said that we were going to get inflation meaningfully back down to 2% by the end of 2024, going into 2025? And now they've pushed it off into 2026. They said that we're going to reach our inflation target of 2% by mid 2025, excuse me, or even by 2026. And then halfway through next year, I don't think that Jerome Powell is going to get past two rate cuts before the markets just completely go out of control. The bubble just gets out of control. Markets are ripping way too much. Inflation is going to start to ramp its head back up. And so I think like two cuts later, we're going to start to see that inflation beast come back in. And Jerome Powell is going to be talking about 2027 is when we can expect the inflation target to be meaningfully back down at 2%. All right, so Jerome Powell keeps pushing the goalposts. Not cool. Okay. Um, Definitely going to have inflation. And so yeah, there's that. Now the good news is there was a massive omnibus spending bill, $100 billion kind of like a keep the government open package that was on the House floor earlier today. Thing was 1,500 pages, and they were expecting everybody to read that and sort of vote on it. In this 1,500 pages, apparently was 40% pay raise for all the members of Congress. It also exempted them from all the Obamacare mandates so that if you wanted your own private health care, you can get an exemption. And because now we have some common sense back in our government, they know that this new administration is not going to be like this is the best way I could describe the last 4 years or the last versus what's going to happen now is that the last administration I feel like was playing house, and this administration actually wants to build a house, actually wants to build a home. Very different game. When you want to play house, you can like pretend to put the stuff in the easy bake oven, and you can pretend to be husband and wife. You get right. That's all cool. Nothing gets done. When you're actually trying to build a home, there's a lot of sacrifice involved. There's a lot of tough decisions. There's a lot of, pushback that you're going to get, and you have to be steadfast in what you're trying to achieve. And so I feel like this new administration I feel like the level of maturity and the level of competence and common sense has come back. And so that's why this omnibus bill did not pass. They were like basically here's what happens every single year before the holiday season is there's a threat of a government shutdown. They try to push through this, abnormally large bill before everyone goes on holiday. The congressional members all leave back to their districts for like 30 or 45 days or something. They take a massive break right in the middle of the holiday season. And so they were trying to do this again, $100 billion spending bill, that nobody, nothing to see here. Just go ahead and sign this thing and just approve this before anybody can even take a look. And luckily it got rejected. Hallelujah. We're good. And people are asking me, well, Roy, what happens if there's a government shutdown? Isn't that a genuine risk or threat to the country? And the answer is, I mean, kind of. Like, oh my, like the government shuts down. Who's going to uh audit the shit out of your taxes? Make sure you paid every last dime on that $400 you sent on Cash App. That'd be horrible if the government shut down for a bit. All these government administrators that are wasting taxpayer money and not and only. Do you guys know that only? I think this is what Vivek said yesterday in a video I was watching. He said only 3% of government employees actually show up to the office to work. 3%. So 97% of the people that's supposed to be working in these big office buildings that we're paying a lot of taxpayer dollars for aren't even there. So I think this culture of just pushing through massive bills that are named, like Joe Biden's bill in 2022, the Inflation Reduction Act, but the contents of the bill do the exact opposite. Because here's the whole play is they're going to call it the Inflation Reduction Act or the Safe Puppies Act or something, and it's just like a slaughterhouse for puppies. And basically, when you oppose it because of the actual contents of the bill, they look at you and they say, well, Roy hates puppies, right? Because who wouldn't want to save the puppies? Who wouldn't want to reduce inflation? And so if you vote against the Inflation Reduction Act, now you're the person who's against beating inflation, or the Border Security Act, which doesn't actually secure the border, instead gives a menial amount of money to the Border Patrol, but instead goes to helping people cross this country illegally faster and more efficiently, and then also appropriates money to Ukraine. It's like, yeah, of course you're going to get, people who reject that bill and who vote no. But then they'll go into the media and say, yeah, the Democrats voted against this or the Republicans voted against that. The only benefit here is we get to save money. Now, this current administration is doing some shisty things. I heard yesterday that they're selling pieces of Donald Trump's border wall. All right, I'm going to be looking to take a trade here. I'm going to wait for price to break through the 88.6 just one more time. And that's where I will be entering that first trade. All right, this is going to be a scalp position. I do expect price to break through and continue to the downside. This is not over, people. This is not over. However, I can see us consolidating in this range before having a full-on the second leg of this meltdown. Big thing that you guys can take away from today's stream is whenever the market has a massive drop, it's kind of like a thing to remember. You can always kind of expect a second move similar in size to happen again. So markets typically move in twos. So then why would I buy this right here for a scalp? Because I believe that since we're in a trading range and since we're at lows, we're at a pretty discounted level already. There's a possibility here for us to scalp inside this range. I think it'll play around here before eventually continuing to the downside. The downside move is my expectation though, people. Okay, so if you do enter this trade, if we're going to scalp this, personally, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be in and out. I'm going to be in and out. All right. Don't overstay your welcome. Sellers are still in full control, but a range is a range. And then for Chart Addicts members or anyone that's taken the masterclass, here's the Asia session range, plotted the lows, fibbed it from low to high, and we got a potential rejection here for a Model 1. So that's what I'm looking at currently. I'm going to wait for price to break through the 88 and then start entering some positions. All right, go ahead and block this. Right.
Order filled.
I just entered my first position here.
Order filled. Order filled.
All right, let's see if we get a rejection here. So if this thing's going to crash, my expectation would be kind of like a double bottom situation, push up to TP1, maybe TP2, and then have this drop. And so after this first push to the upside, I'm going to be protecting this trade. I did enter two positions just so I can take partial profits, which I think I'm going to do now.
Order filled.
I just took, well, it's not really taking partial
Order
profits.
filled.
This is more about de-risking this trade. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to protect the rest of. Okay, beautiful rejection so far. That's TP1, which I don't have plotted, but I will plot this right now. TP1 just got hit. So there's a choice here to
Order filled.
secure profits or secure partial profits. I'm going to close the entire trade only because of the bearish bias I have. I just want to make sure that I'm being responsible with not trading against the momentum. If I am going to trade inside of a range, like I said, I'm going to be scalping it if there's multiple opportunities. So if the market comes back all the way down for a double bottom and then rejects, I can take another entry right here at the double bottom, take this thing up to TP1 again, close profits again, and then just walk away for the day. All right, so at this point, the trade should be protected. And if it continues to TP2, that's beautiful. If it continues to TP3 and 4, awesome. If not, then at least you got to walk away with some partial profits, or at least you didn't lose anything because the trade is protected. Said, nice call, Roy. Within 30, win in 30 seconds. Yep. Same thing with the London session low. That retest of the London session low was like, I mean, it was a 5-minute candle. It was about 10 minutes, literally 10 minutes from entry to TP2. Beautiful model one off of the London session low. Here's the consolidation, pump, retest. Okay. Now, move of the first candle, bearish. Okay. So we already started to have a breakdown at New York Open, and then we had a retest, and then now we're breaking back below. So if we continue to hold the Tokyo session lows, then we could see this move into this range before we crash. It could be like a very big extended move. But personally, I think that we're just going to end up playing in this range. And then I'm not sure if we'll be able to break above this consolidation. If we do, I think it'll just reach for the extension and then drop again. So anyways, pretty quick move. That's how it works. You're going to get the 88.6 touch. It's about what happens next. That's a lot less predictable. It's a lot less kind of high probability. So I said a lot less high probability, a lot lower probability, especially when it comes to like predictive analysis. And so that initial push is like pretty common. You're going to get that one. The second retest is also pretty common. And so after you have that initial reaction, to TP1, then you get a liquidity move back inside to kick out everybody who has their trades protected. And then you have the second leg of the move before the real drop. And so I do believe that there's going to be a second opportunity here to enter. I'll end up paper trading this just so I can keep my profits for the day. But all in all, yeah, very straightforward stuff. Let me see if you guys have questions in the chats. I just want to go through questions about economics, about the Fed meeting, about 2025, markets, crypto, news, politics, geopolitics, war, anything that you guys have that you guys are seeing on the news or on Twitter. Let me know and I'll give you guys my honest thoughts, just kind of based on my experience here. Done for the day. God bless. Nice trade. Awesome stuff, Mike. Are you still bullish long term after the Powell remarks? Yeah, so I would say short term to medium term bearish, long term obviously bullish. For sure. What makes you not go after the big move if you know it's going to happen? You don't know anything's going to happen in markets. Anyone that pretends to is like I'm either joking or just being like facetious on the call, or they're just honestly ignorant. You don't know what's going to happen next. If I did, I probably wouldn't be on this live stream. I'd probably be knocking on Goldman Sachs's door, trying to get the biggest credit line I possibly can, and then just taking the biggest trades on it, or just go to sign a partnership with Citadel. The thing is that it's all about probabilities. And so when you have a strategy that tells you, defines clearly where your entries and exits are, you have to follow that model. And if you don't, because of a feeling that it could continue, like right there, I jumped out, but my gut instinct was telling me, this thing has a lot of room left. You should hold until it pumps to the next take profit. But the rational thing to do is understand that markets reverse. Markets have reversed on me plenty of times. And the name of the game is to walk away in profits. And so as long as I do that, I'm not going to sit here and think about how much money I could have made, should have made, where I should have or could have got out. I did my job. I walked away in profits. And as long as I do that consistently, I get to go to the payout dates. I get to get approved for the payouts. And if I was trading a personal funds account or just a margin account at a brokerage, and then I just get to, stack up the wins at the end of the week, get to take my profits. So making a decision based on a set of principles as opposed to making discretionary decisions on impulse. Do you think JPY and US stocks have an inverse relationship because of the carry trade, or does the consumer play a huge role in the performance of NAS? Two completely separate questions. The carry trade, I don't really even think impacts the stock market as much as it impacts the currency and the bond markets. The stock market flows really, here's kind of a good framework to think about how big investors or big traders think about where to invest their money. Okay, which stock market to go into. 2 days ago, Masayoshi Son from SoftBank pledged $100 billion into the US stock market in 2025. The implications of that are everybody else is going to see all this money about to get pumped in, and they're going to want to position themselves early, which is why I think a lot of stock buying is going to happen. And so when you're looking at the dynamics of a country, are they going to be pro-growth or anti-growth? Is it going to be stimulative to the capital markets and to the stock markets, or is it going to be restrictive? America is a lot more attractive in terms of the potential for growth than Japan is. Japan has a demographic decline, something like 30% of the population celibate, something like they have a crisis of not enough young people to run that economy compared to the rising rate of like kind of the aging population. So Japan, not an attractive place to invest at all. The currency is getting crushed, and so they are sacrificing their currency by overprinting it, which does, in theory, it's supposed to lead to inflation, right? Because when you're pumping this much money, you're supposed to inflate the value of your assets, and that's supposed to kind of keep things running, and it's not even working in Japan. So big thing is demographics and just the overall economic landscape and the potential for future growth. Big piece. Second one is war. So Europe embroiled in kind of not even kind of a conflict with Russia. It's really U.S. versus Russia, but through proxy of Ukraine and the European Union and NATO. Then you have, let's say, Africa, for example, a lot of instability there, a lot of discontinuity. And so you can have like kind of those rising economies like Ghana and South Africa and Ethiopia and Nigeria. However, if there's not a unified sort of consensus there, it's really hard to do cross-border payments. It's hard to rely on the banking system there for, for access. So Africa, really not the best place equity-wise to invest. Startup, venture, you know, things that are I would say like more infrastructure related, definitely better suited for Africa, not equity investments though. That's more for an established stock market or established economy that has a framework for successful companies. Then you look at Asia. Asia, you have China, hostile neighbors on the left and right. There's constantly operations happening in North Korea and right now between South and North Korea, the South China Sea, constant military and naval operations, kind of preparing for some kind of Taiwan takeover. So a lot of instability in the Asian region too, especially with the big question of Taiwan's independence and US's role in protecting Taiwan as a protectorate. Okay, so Asia's out of the question, Europe's out of the question, Middle East is out of the question. We'd love to invest in the Middle East, but obviously there's the risk of World War III damn near happening there. Not as attractive. Canada completely ruined their economy, very dependent on the US, not worth investing in those equities. We're one of the largest trade partners for Canada, but it's mostly through energy trade and through consumer trade, not really through, let's say, like not really somewhere where we expect big companies and unicorn companies and the next Google and all these places to come from, because Canada is not really pro entrepreneurship or capitalism the same way that America is. Okay, then you look at Mexico, South America, same problems, instability and lack of trust in the growth of equities. Now, emerging markets are seen as a riskier asset class, and it's typically reserved for accredited investors only. So back at Merrill Lynch, if I wanted to invest my clients in foreign equities, they'd have to be an accredited investor. They'd have to have millions in the books, and they'd have to be able to put down $1 million in order to play, or they have to be making $1 million a year, have 5 million on the books, or be making up to 4 or 5 million a year. So the emerging market plays, I just don't think that are the most attractive. And I think that the US over the next 3 to 4 years is the single most attractive place in the world. And that's my thoughts on why the US is seeing so many inflows and will continue to see inflows. Victoria asks, are you going to host classes this year? We're going to have some of our top team members hosting the NASDAQ 1.0 classes. And then we'll also have a recorded version of the NASDAQ 1.0 class available. The recorded version, very different than the live class. It's not as interactive, but we're going to try to summarize and kind of keep things as consistent as possible so that everybody walks away with the practical info and like the actual confidence you need to execute the strategy. I mean, you guys can write this down. It's another takeaway that you guys can have. Big takeaway here is markets move in twos. If there's a massive drop, expect a second one. The second one is we get paid for action, okay, not for intelligence. We get paid for action, not for knowledge. We get paid for action, not for plans. Now, you need planning and you need ideas and you need, intelligence in order to make money and in order to take action. But if you're spending 90% of your time thinking or 90% of your time planning or doubting or whatever it is, and 10% of the time working, the results are going to show, right? So I want to make sure that everybody has the practical knowledge necessary to execute this strategy effectively, and that is my number one priority. That was my last trade for the year. Hope everyone has a great holiday. Nice, Josh. Well, the payout period ends tomorrow, right? So I'm guessing that's why it's the last trade. You're gonna just lock in the gains and then request the payout for the end of the year, or is it a different decision? Oh, Josh's not even on the call. He made his money and dipped out. Wow, on today's episode of Trades I Should Have Held, Wody Brody. 513. All right, so the trade I took was from 475 to 513. Okay, so that's about 25 points, 30, about 40 points. And right now, price is at 576. So I closed at 513, and right now price is at 570, well, 573. So I missed out on an additional 60 points, which would have been double the profits that I made. Excellent stuff. So the purpose of that review is just to kind of look at patterns. Now, if this happens consistently, especially like you have to adjust to the market environment. Right now, if the market is very active and we're seeing TP2s getting hit 80% of the time, and then we're seeing TP1 get hit only a small percentage of the time, then I'm not going to keep taking profits early. But just based on the last kind of month and a half of me looking at the charts and just sort of adjusting, TP1s have been the most profitable thing for me. Get the money and walk away, as opposed to overstaying the welcome. All right, before we hop off the stream, I'm going to go through a quick tour of the charts, kind of see what's happening in all markets. So we're seeing Bitcoin. Bitcoin had dropped to a low of 98,000, which is exactly what we said yesterday on the stream. I said that price is probably going to bottom out around the 98, 99. And then if it holds support there, we're going to come back up and just range between this 99 area and like the 110s. However, if we break through, then we have a lot of room to the downside to 95 and then potentially all the way back down to 92. So big correction here, all the way, like this is a $10,000 correction that happened in less than a day. Okay, it hasn't even been 24 hours yet, people. So big reason why if you are involved in crypto and you make massive profits, to take partial profits along the way. I'm not saying this is the end of the cycle. I've reiterated this constantly on the streams, but I think it's crucial to understand, especially from my own experiences, that if you don't take partial profits or you don't take profits at all, markets will correct, and they correct aggressively, because most high-risk assets, especially we're going to talk about regarding crypto and stocks, they go up like an escalator and they go down like the elevator. And so you might expect the market to drop in a consistent fashion, or in a fashion that's consistent with the structure that it made on the way up. But it's not going to look like that. It's going to drop a lot faster. And so if you don't make a decisive choice to take partial profits at like when the market is at premiums, then by the time the market starts dropping, it might be too late. Understood? So we don't take partial profits because we don't think the market's going to continue. We take partial profits because we expect that anything can happen, and that the longer you're in a trade, the bigger the risk is. Because anything can happen in that time. There could be some war that breaks out. There can be a new law that gets passed. Like when China banned Bitcoin, Bitcoin mining specifically, and then they banned the trade of Bitcoin, there was a significant hit to Bitcoin's price. And all of that happened, I think, in like 36 hours, right? Anything can happen. So again, we don't take partials because we don't think the market's going to continue. We take partials because anything can happen. And because of that reality, we have to make a judgment call on how to walk away with profits. USD JPY, if we could just take a tour of all of the paper trades that we were kind of trading together. USD JPY absolutely ripped. I actually went through and documented some of these from the live streams just so we can have a reference here. Oh, I think I put them in the main chats. That's a shame. But we've been tracking USD JPY and Euro USD basically the whole year. Beautiful 886 rejection for the CA members who are watching this. Double bottom, 88.6, and then inverted head and shoulders off of the 78 retest. Hit TP1, smashed TP2, okay, broke above and then came back for the retest. Now we're headed all the way to TP3. The dollar is absolutely ripping. Super secret magnet indicator can't be understated, can't be overstated, can't be beat. Undefeated, undisputed, single greatest indicator in the world. All three magnet zones got smashed in the span of 2 months. We had the first zone here. First off, we were watching this thing from basically from like November 2023. Then January 24, we hit the lows at 108. We hit the first magnet zone, hit the second magnet zone, and then failed to make it to the third magnet zone. Okay, so from August all the way down to September, we ended up having this drop, and then we ended up going up again. Magnet zone had 2 weekly candles, just paused right here. Second magnet zone, now we're using it as support. And then the third magnet zone rejected perfectly. These zones, very accurate, still being respected all the way through. And when the market eventually makes its play to the upside and then comes back down, these areas will get respected again on the way back down. Very effective strategy. Dollar absolutely ripping, which would mean that Euro USD is crashing. Still crashing. Super secret magnet indicator. This was also on the live streams, except I believe we took a paper trade on this together, which is still running. You guys can see where that paper trade is. And so just because, we're here, what I'll do is I'll trail my stops. And I'll put my take profit at the lows. Actually, probably a little bit higher than the lows, 88.6. Okay, and then we'll just continue to track these trades as they run. Swing trading is awesome if you guys have a margin account that allows it, especially when it comes to currencies. Swing trading stocks really works when you have a consistent message from the Fed. But when you have inconsistency, like there was no changes in the data, that we all knew the data going into the Fed meeting. Bob Elliott put this really well yesterday on his Twitter, senior economist. He said, we all knew the data and everybody had the playbook and had an understanding of what's going on. The only thing that we didn't know is what the Fed, like how the Fed's going to change their mind, how they're going to be interpreting this data, what their plan forward is going to be, because they've been changing that way too often. And so right now, the Fed is just changing up for no reason. There hasn't been a material change in the data. And for some reason, they continue to hop back and forth between trying to get inflation back down to our target, but then also easing monetary policy, which is going to cause inflation. I'm looking at the Japanese yen. A big reason why USD JPY is overperforming other assets is because the yen finally backed down. We also hit that 7.2 or 7,200 zone. Now headed back to the downside. Things are back to normal. Money is leaving shittier foreign currencies and then hopping into the dollar where there's a lot of demand. Now, I don't expect the dollar demand to continue. I think this is going to be a December, maybe January thing as a correction. But when you print, I don't know if they're going to be printing dollars, but when you're lowering interest rates in an environment that's high growth, so Trump is planning on bringing jobs back and improving GDP, cutting costs, and then just sort of improving the overall capital flows, incentivizing tax structures for corporations to improve productivity. So productivity is going to go through the roof, right? And so you have all this demand for dollars at a low rate, and I think that that money's going to have to find itself in some risk assets to make a return. Meaning, the dollar will go down, stocks and crypto will go back up. Now, is this going to be before the end of the year? Are we going to have a Christmas rally? Or is this going to be like the first, second week of January? Not sure. Okay, December 2018, Jerome Powell did the same exact thing, except he raised interest rates. And then we ended up having a massive correction December, January before the continuation in 2019. So we could be seeing something similar. December, January could be bearish, and then we have a final continuation. And so expect the DXY to continue to rip. And then once the market gets back to normal, quote unquote, meaning we hit certain areas of higher time frame resistance or support, the dynamics seem to like really be clear going into 2025, meaning Jerome Powell is set on cutting interest rates. Trump is confident in some of those policies he's able to push through, and we're clear about which policies will pass and which ones are going to get blocked. I think the more clarity there is, the more things go back to normal. Bullish stock market, bearish dollar, and bullish crypto. Make sense? I know it's a pretty long-winded explanation, but some things need, some things need a thorough explanation. All right. We just talked about this in terms of USD JPY is the hit off the 88. And then you have the inverted head and shoulders here. So if the market holds that inverse head and shoulders, then we just have a continuation to the upside all the way to TP2, 21,337. Personally, I'm not going to trade the continuation because you have to think about it. I took my entry down here and I got out right here. And so jumping into a buy position above my take profit zone, probably the dumbest thing I could do. Because if I really wanted to be in this trade or hold the trade, I should have held the original entry. Because just getting a shittier position just to be in the trade, hoping for a continuation, fastest way to give your money back. I hope that was clear for a lot of you guys. Double dipping, giving the money back, or overstaying your welcome, very avoidable. It's all about being clear about where you're going to get in and get out, why you're going to get in and get out there. So again, I'm not going to jump out here because that's above my take profit price. Okay, if I saw this as a premium price, risk-wise, then why would I all of a sudden change my mind? There hasn't been like a serious break to the upside and then a retest. Okay. Perfect, example here of like even just waiting a few minutes would have either given you a better entry if you do want to, try to go long on this thing, or it would have just saved you about 50 points in risk. 40 points. Let me not hype it. Okay. How can I buy the indicator? You have to have already taken the NASDAQ masterclass, and then you have to be 5'9". You also have to be you have to run at least an 840 mile. And then I forgot what the last qualification was. Oh, you can't have voted for Kamala. If you meet all those requirements, you can hit us up, info@chartaddictsfx.com. Website got a new look. Same with the FX Summit website, brand new look, new webpage. Who dis? Go ahead and check out the new webpage, fxsummit2025.com. Link is in the description. The #1 conference in the world for traders, investors, and crypto is coming to Latin America. If you guys are in the United States, trips to Colombia are extremely cheap. This is not going to be the same as Dubai where you're going to have to fly 16, 17 hours. If you're in the States, if you're in Florida, for example, it's like a 2-hour flight. If you're in Texas, it'll be like three hours max. If you're in Virginia, it'll be 4 hours. If you're in New York, it'll be 5, 6 hours maximum, right? And so it's going to be a very quick trip. It's going to be a very cheap trip. It's going to be a fun trip. And I recommend you guys start looking early. June 2025, we're hitting Colombia, and it's going to be an absolute show for you guys. Dubai, very different ball game because the culture out there is not as big as into like hype culture. Everybody kind of comes out into crowds and really cares about these sorts of things in the same way. Same with traveling, very tough travel from around the world, very tough travel, especially internationally from the States. When you're crossing the oceans, it gets pretty tough for folks to come. But Colombia, very different ball game. We're going to have translators for everybody. There's going to be speakers in Spanish and English. VIP events are going to go crazy. We're really putting an emphasis on the networking in Latin America so that everybody can get connected. And that trading challenge, I think, is going to be the number one focal point. Okay. I'm going to be showing you guys some ins and outs of what the trading challenge looks like. We're going to be using the trading challenge on these streams. I might have you guys volunteer to see who wants to go head to head. I think it'll be really fun, and we can start a leaderboard. I think that if we do a stream leaderboard, and then everybody can compete in it, and then every stream we just sort of like, we can take like 5-10 minutes, do a round, and then keep getting the highest scores. I think that'll be fucking awesome. Put a one in the chat if that's something you guys would be interested in. Obviously, we'll do cash prizes. We'll do a prize or a giveaway for each stream winner, and then we'll do one for like the weekly winners, the monthly winners, the quarterly winners, the annual winners. That I think will be super dope. Free tickets to the summit, free access to the master classes, free annual membership to Chart Addicts, free coaching with myself, tons of prizes that we can give out, maybe even some crypto. And yeah, I think that'll be awesome. I know a lot of you guys are looking at this double bottom here, thinking that this would be a great place to enter, and I agree with you. I am going to wait for this thing to break through the 88.6 just to see if I can get a discounted entry in between this range here. So if there is a push through that area and then a rejection, I'll be looking to enter down here. Otherwise, I'm going to let this thing go. All right, Noah's down, JLP's down. Luke, I already explained it. It's a scalp position. I'm only scalping this thing inside of the range. This is even a way too generous of a TP here. This is a scalp inside of this range. Okay, long term, I see this thing continuing to drop, but I'm not really big on short selling. And so for me, I just want to scalp, buy entries, get in, get out, and that's how I make money. I don't want to be, I tailored my trading strategy to my personality and obviously the requirements and the needs of the account. The profits can't be more than 30% and like the losses can't be 30%. And there's all these rules when you're trading prop firms. So in order to stay out of all that trouble, number one, I keep risk very limited. I protect my trades as often as I can. And I look to scalp an intraday trade or scalp more than intraday trade. Um, just because you could be up big on a trade and then have it retrace on you, and then you can hit the trailing drawdown limit. And so, in order to not violate the rules, you got to tailor your strategy, and that's what I'm doing here. Yeah, on the 30-minute doesn't really look good, right? We'd have to see a push through the zone in order to really get some confidence in this position. 15 minutes doesn't look good. 4 hour looks like it has more room to go. And so for now, I'm going to wait. If I don't see anything like crystal clear, then I'll just let this thing go. All right, so we're filling this downside wick, seeing a slight double bottom here. I'd like to see a push through the zone again. So kind of like run on liquidity, you'd say in the specific situation, run on liquidity. I'm not really sure. What I say is that markets, this is like a very big piece of our trading strategy, is when markets are in a range, a lot of people kind of get spooked. They've been told not to trade ranges. And so it's the same deal here, for example. where you have support established, support established, support established, and then the market comes into the zone. All right, so a lot of people are looking for a downside reversal, and instead, because we're in a trading range, you can buy it here and take a scalp to the upside. So that even if the market reverses on you, you can still make money. You can take trades here, you can take trades here, right? And so for me, it's like we're still higher time frame in a bullish market. And so anytime that there's a higher time frame area of support and the market starts to create support, I look for I look for buys at the bottom of that range. Now you have to be intelligent about how to take those trades because if you're just buying every time it touches, you can get smacked by the duck duck goose. If you don't know what that is, it's in the NASDAQ masterclass. But yeah, risk management, layering your trades, trade management after, knowing where to take your profits. This is really what makes or breaks the profitability of trading a system like this. That you're trading against the higher time frame momentum that's very bearish, but you understand that a trading range is a trading range, and lows will be respected until they're not. How do I feel about nations worldwide starting to do Bitcoin reserves? I heard something about that in the US that Masayoshi Son was also going to open a separate crypto fund. I think somebody on the stream said that, Mike. It might have been you. But I personally think that they're a little late to the game. Look, most governments and institutions have been loading up on Bitcoin for years. When JP Morgan was telling us that Bitcoin was trash, and Jamie Dimon was at the World Economic Forum in Davos, and he was on CNBC saying that Bitcoin is just like it's a spectacle, it's like it's a fad, it's a bubble, it's tulip mania. And then they were, stockpiling coins back in 2019 and 2020. JP Morgan was buying it its for its Bitcoin reserves through their OTC desk. And so these companies have been loading up, and I think that they're just now making it public because you don't want to be the loser that invested your client's money or some of the client's funds or company funds into Bitcoin and it crashed because then you have to explain it to the investors. But once it does really well, now you're the avid supporter. You're like fucking Kevin O'Leary. Kevin O'Leary was calling Bitcoin and crypto a giant fraud, and then all of a sudden he got WonderFi, right? Because this dude saw the money and he was like, well, it might be a giant scam, but I'll scam people out of their money, I guess. So that's why I don't really like the new age supporters of crypto. It's like, where the fuck were y'all when this stuff wasn't mainstream and it genuinely needed the support? Michael Saylor risked his entire life. He was the longest sitting CEO of a Fortune 500 company. So Bill Gates was already gone. Steve Ballmer was gone. Steve Jobs had passed away. It was, all the CEOs, the original CEOs of these Fortune 500 companies had all left 25 years later. The company that he founded, MicroStrategy, he was still in charge of. The role and the size had not outgrown his capabilities. He'd put a massive risk and a massive bet on taking his treasury assets at MicroStrategy, putting it into Bitcoin. He left his job to avoid conflict of interest and then put all his personal assets in the billions into Bitcoin. And then now he's a fucking genius. MicroStrategy is up, I think, 70% this year. Okay, no stock does 70% in a year unless you're Nvidia or something, right? Especially at the size that MicroStrategy is at. So those sorts of folks that took a massive gamble, a massive bet, and bet on crypto long term, even the founder of Twitter, the founder of Cash App or Square, whatever you want to call it, or Block, Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey renamed the entire company Block instead of Cash App because he understood that blockchain was going to be the future. This was like 2020 or 2019. Now, obviously, he wanted to rebrand because that was like a big thing, Facebook rebranding to Meta and Cash App rebranding the Block and sort of these things. But folks that saw it early, I got a ton of respect for. Anthony Pompliano, who spoke at FX Summit 2023. By the way, I just saw that my interview with Pompliano was on his channel from the summit. If you guys are interested in that, you guys can look up Anthony Pompliano FX Summit. And you guys can check out my full conversation. Pompliano is one of the biggest voices in crypto. Before Michael Saylor was the face of Bitcoin, I'd really have to say that Pompliano was sort of like the spokesperson for Bitcoin. This is really enticing, but something about this is giving me a bad feeling. I want to see a liquidity grab through the zone for a double bottom and then a push back up in order to take another entry on this, in order to really risk giving back my profits, which I have no interest in doing and no intention on doing. But yeah, Anthony Pompliano, 591,000 subs on his YouTube, and your boy got the feature. And you guys can see the likes of the people that end up on Pompliano's channel. Um, we have the guy, this is not Morning Joe. It's the guy from Fox Business. We have Daniel Penny. Who else we got here? We got some really big names. Darius Dale, one of the best economists in the world today. Between him and Bob Elliott, absolutely incredible guy. I think this is the guy from the morning show on CNBC. He's pretty big, but he's got some pretty heater names on here. I'm trying to find this. Okay, so we had Kevin O'Leary on here. They were debating crypto. I think this was on Fox Business actually. Pompliano. Who else we got here? Got a pretty good list. Oh, he was on that Flagrant. You guys know Flagrant with Andrew Schultz? Yeah, he landed on there. He was in that community. He interviewed Andrew Tate. That was a pretty big one for him. We sort through the popular ones. Oh, here we go. Sean Ryan. That was pretty big. This is before Sean Ryan really blew up. Raoul Pal, tons of respect for Raoul Pal. He's the founder of Real Vision Finance. Definitely give them a follow. I said he was on Flagrant. He got the Tate interview. Konstantin Kisin. I'm pretty sure that he got an interview with Michael Saylor. I think they're pretty good. Kathy Wood from ARK Investments. Balaji Srinivasan. Big names, David Sachs, Kevin O'Leary again, Jim Cramer, Anthony Scaramucci, all 11 days in the White House. He has the shortest running tenure of any White House staffer, 11 days. Dr. Peter McCullough, that's dope. Kiyosaki, Robert Kiyosaki, Lynn Alden, who I'm a big fan of. I'd put Darius Dale, Bob Elliott, and Lynn Alden as the top three economists today. Peter Schiff, obviously. We got David Rubenstein, huge. I'm not sure if you got an Elon interview, but that might have been somewhere. Yeah, long story short, yeah, boy, made it. Let's see if we can look up FX Summit. Here it is. 44 minutes.
Can we stop with the self-care weeks? Like, what if we did?
Okay, so definitely recommend checking that out. I'll actually put the link for this video in the description on YouTube so you guys can check that out after this. And drop a comment if you guys are watching this from the Chart Addicts live stream. Drop a comment on his post just so they can. Yeah, I think he's one of the fifth biggest holders for Bitcoin. Yeah, for sure. Individual holders, yes. Oof. Very tempting. Very tempting, but not tempting enough. I still want to see a push through the zone first. Because I still see one more move to TP1. I still see this area getting hit one more time, but I want to make sure I get the right entry for this. Like right now it's at 240, and the ideal entry would be at 208 or 209. Yeah, if you're looking at NQ, the ideal entry is at 21,470, and right now it's at 21,515. So it's about 50 points away from that entry. I would either wait for it to come back in, grab that wick entry, or just let it go. But that zone is so fucking accurate. The strategy is so good, guys. Like if you don't know the strategy, if you haven't taken the master class, I'm just letting you know it. This thing is the truth. Just look at this reaction right here. A 50-point jump in the span of 5 minutes. That's why we trade New York session. All right, doesn't look like anyone on YouTube is down for the trading challenge idea, so I guess you guys are just scared. Guys, it'll be like The trading challenge is not even going to be a live. The FX replay is a backtesting software that has live conditions, so we can get an accurate feel for whose strategies, whose execution is good and who really knows their stuff. Um, with proper risk management, obviously, we're no YOLOing and things like that. But it's not going to be live funds. There's really nothing for you guys to lose. It's just going to be some fun competition. But damn, this thing is pumping. Ouch. All good. But if you are on YouTube and you guys want to be involved and you guys think the trading challenge would be a fun idea, do a bunch of giveaways, do a bunch of free merch and other stuff, free tickets to the summit, free coaching, and all the rest. Put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat and let me know. Rich said, then why are you paper trading? Why am I paper trading what, Rich? Since that interview you had with him, been following him since. Awesome stuff. The website is not allowing to purchase tickets, VIP tickets. Also, the Dubai event, you said there was a chance to get free tickets for the summit. Is this still available? The answer is yes. The website is not allowing ticket purchases, VIP tickets. Mandy, what does it say when you try to purchase the tickets? Oh, awesome stuff. Yeah, but what does it say? Oh, it says sales ended. Oh yeah, I think this was for the 50% off, but the 50% off should be valid till the end of the year. The half off tickets. I'll send this to the team for sure. I appreciate the heads up. See if anybody from the team is on the Zoom. Nope. All right, give me a second. I'll actually just have to send a quick message to the squad real quick. Damn. Look at NASDAQ. Wow. Sheesh. That's what hesitation will do, people. That's what hesitation will do. Damn. What an incredible entry. All good? What a wick. Beautiful double bottom, straight back up to TP1. Let's see if we continue from here. There's a very good shot. We continue, and this thing just rips. Yeah, it looks like it's going to rip from here. Ouch. Unfortunate. Your screen says paper trading. How else do I ask this question? Which screen says paper trading? This one, yeah, on TradingView. Because there's Tradevate right here. For somebody who's very observant, you gotta look at, the full picture. It says you saw this down here. It said paper trading, one of the panels, but you missed this whole Tradevate tab up here. I don't know, bro. And why would I paper trade? Do I even want to explain this? Because I fucking can. That's why. I met a lot of people out there in Dubai that watch the streams, by the way. And I asked them, I was like, do you guys think that I should turn it down a bit? You guys think that I should so I kind of keep it under wraps, keep it under control? They said no. They said be unhinged. I took that to heart. It was two people, not the biggest sample size, but I'm a man of the people. And if people want me to be more unhinged, I'm here to deliver. All right. And so that's what you guys are gonna get. I do need more activity in the chats though. Maybe some good questions, some stupid questions that I can roast, like just something. This is an ouchie. That's what I think. Wow, TP2 just got well, not demolished. It's about to get tapped. Did anybody re-enter this trade or no? I know some of you guys got a quicker trigger finger than I do. Anyone re-enter on this or no? A trade of 8 tab doesn't mean shit. Newsflash, Rich, neither do you. Isn't that crazy? This guy's yelling at me like I'm his fucking like he's fucking like this is like fucking baseball practice or something. Like I'm a fucking like he's my softball coach. Missed it two, was driving. Focus on the road. Two-step, focus on the road, my boy. TP2 just got smashed. Well played, Nasdaq. Well played. Very good chance that we push through and then just completely flip from here. We're probably gonna end up breaking the highs. And so when in doubt, zoom out. I'm not even in doubt, kind of very clear idea what's gonna happen here. If we're still expecting some kind of short position, I think that either we continue ranging here, and so the market's gonna make it up to the highs, get stuck, and then come back down. But I think what's a bit more likely is a push into this range, get back up to a previous area of selling. Okay, so either 21,560 or even a bit higher. And then that's where we're going to see the second leg of this big, big drop. Okay, so major level of support right here. This is going to be a great zone to just find buying opportunities for scalps until it breaks through, obviously. And then as of, for shorting opportunities, personally, I don't want to short at this zone. I'd much rather price break up to a higher level and then short from there. But we're very likely to break through this level now and continue to the upside in spectacular fashion. We'll wait and see. We miss you on Instagram, Roy. I'm doing my best to get the account back. The hackers really fucked us with our ability to get it back through IG. But luckily, we got some inside sources, that are trying to help us. So working on it. We said yesterday, don't trade today, but it's looking better. The market is in better conditions. I'm looking at US 30. Awesome stuff. Mike, I know you did. I will paper trade if I want to. Dumb question, honestly. Real shit. And all you people eat it up. I mean, I don't think typing 5 words is the definition of eating it up. I think spending time on a live stream with somebody you disagree with, and then instead of saying like what you actually mean, you're just sitting here just like listening to yourself talk. I would say that you're eating this up. As soon as someone throws out a laughing emoji when getting roasted, you already know they're cooked. I'm not gonna bully somebody. That's craziness. A good thing I'm fucking crazy. You're not off the hook. Do you have a venue or dates yet for Summit 2025? Venue most likely will be the Agora Convention Center in Medellin. Or is it in Bogota? Wait, it's in Bogota. Sorry. The Agora Convention Center in Bogota. And then we're still deciding between the second or third weekend in June. But it'll either be the second or maybe third weekend of June. And the Agora Convention Center will be the location. So same place they did the Money Expo, the Fitness Expo, and the Fashion Week Expo 2024s. So pretty good location, great place. Rich, you know it's all love. All right. Let's just love each other. How about this? How about we just show some love? You didn't all right. See, I'm trying to send up the white flag and this dude's still cooking. You don't roast anyone, you paper trading nerd. I mean, I can't even argue that. Like those are both objectively true. I do paper trade occasionally and I am a nerd. So, I mean, shit. You fucking got me. Damn, touche. David Sanchez got in. Yeah, of course you did, right? He said a trade of 8 tab doesn't mean shit. He's like, oh, I'm just talking. I'm not roasting. Bruh, who talks like that? I don't know. Look, it's fun, people. Roasting is fun. Watching charts, watching the next candle and the next candle and the next candle, not that much fun. right? So you got to keep yourself entertained somehow. You're welcome. I'm doing most of the entertaining for you. Rich said I only speak facts. All right. Well, that's where I log off the streams. Ladies and gentlemen, appreciate y'all for getting on today. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. It means the world to me. You guys know I do this really because I'm trying to show people what trading really is like, and I'm trying to keep things entertaining. Trading is not this glamorous sort of, you just enter a trade and everything goes right. Sometimes it is, like this morning, but most of the time it's watching grass grow. It's making principled decisions based on a set of rules. And then even if you miss a trade or you're watching something go without you or you lose a trade, you lose or you miss a trade with dignity. You do it with competence. And so that's the main reason for these streams. Number one, to educate you guys on markets, global market dynamics, do updates on news and the rest, but also just to show you guys what real trading looks like. I'm very fast paced. I talk real quick and I cover a lot of topics, but trading wise, very, very, I would say disciplined. Disciplined is the word, but it's more like calculated and I'm much more selective with the actual execution, which is how we get paid, right? So hopefully you guys taking away stuff from the stream. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. Of course, check out our Chart Addicts website in the link below. If you guys want to learn how to trade, get coaching, or just join the community. And of course, if you guys want to come out and meet us in FX Summit LATAM 2025, come meet the biggest traders in the space, biggest investors, crypto institutions in the whole game. Come out and hang out with your boy in June. Check out the link in the description. Catch you guys later. Take it easy. Oh, and if you guys want to get funded with Apex Trader Funding 80% off, use promo code Chart Addicts. That's what I've been doing. It's a great way to rack up discounted trading accounts. And so if you're not looking to spend the full price on a challenge, which I don't know why anyone would, if you want a massive discount, make sure to use promo code Chart Addicts and don't pay full price for a challenge. All right, y'all. Take it easy.